Welcome back to the Weekend Warriors Show Recap Podcast. I'm Ty, flying solo today. Wolf's out on an adventure, so just gonna do it myself. I have trying something new with the camera. I don't know if this will look funny in the Spotify and the YouTube or not, but I'm doing the portrait mode instead of landscape. So if it looks really small and weird on this podcast, it's my apologies. It's always an experiment with pretty much everything I do. So we'll see how this works. It'd be cool if it looked like your reels or your TikToks for the podcast. I feel like that would be cool, but I don't really know. We'll see. But so let's get into it. I've had, I think, a couple weekends of shows. I think starting 2 weeks ago on Friday, I was supposed to be at Door 4 Brewing, and that one got canceled because of the tornado. It got pretty crazy weather just all around, and especially in that area. I know there was some wild stuff that was happening up north from us, too. It definitely hit us, but it wasn't, like, crazy. It was, like, pretty wild for maybe 10 minutes or something, but nothing too extreme. So instead of playing a show, we went to a show with Lo and Wolf, and we went to Night Shop. So we've been going there a lot. I think it was No Robot Gerard's show, which is with a couple other bands. But, it was just something different to do, something new to do. And if we can go get out to music, I usually try. And it was a good night. It was fun. I kind of laid back. And obviously I was, amped up to play and then didn't have to. Just kind of a weird feeling for me. The next night I would have been in Champaign at Poor Brothers. It's always a tough room. You have those rooms that are just hard to kind of sound good in, and I feel like that might be one of them, just the way the acoustics are in there. But I think I did decent by the end. I had people up there like dancing and singing a bit, and I don't know if I was trying to appease the audience a little bit too much, or if my set list was a little iffy as far as like, what am I doing for them? What am I doing for me? I think I struggle with that line quite a bit. It took me a long time to dial some stuff in. I do remember that I just did the sound in a bad order. I usually, with the right way to do, I shouldn't say I usually, I do my JBL stack by itself, no monitors, because I'm hearing that, kind of behind me and there. But so I did the monitor just kind of where I thought it should be, and then I was like, I should be very cautious of I don't want to be too loud in this room, and I didn't turn the mains up enough, but I didn't really figure that out till about the last hour. It just sounded funny, couldn't quite get it. It's a big hall type room, and I tried to be tenacious about it. I tried to keep figuring it out the whole time, and by the last hour, I tried to mess with the mix a lot, and I was trying to like push the monitor more, and but at the end I think I just realized that I should just not do the monitor as loud and push the mains. It was very, it's distracting when you do that. Focus on the sound not quite sounding right, and you wonder if, being more indifferent about it or apathetic, maybe just going and singing and just doing that, not really, but if I would have done that, it would have been probably not as good of a sound night by the end of it. So that all being said, I don't really know what the right answer is, because you can get lost in it for sure. Kind of a rough start, but by the end it was, I was having fun. I don't think it sounded amazing. I didn't really feel totally expressed, but it's how it goes. Then I had some car trouble, which was kind of annoying, expensive, because I knew I had a lot of longer drives. Like, I gotta take care of this, get in front of it, and I did, and hurt the pocket a little bit. But I had a couple Iowa shows and a St. Louis show coming up, so I was like, I had to take care of it that week. Then the 12 Bar would have been the next one in Peoria, and that show is a very fun show. It's my first outdoor show of the year, but it's on the third story, so it's kind of a tough thing to get all my gear up there and get it sounded good. But it was nice that it was nice out, and it wasn't a super busy crowd. It was people were kind of iffy on whether they should stay outside because it did get chilly, but they had the heaters and they had the fire. But ultimately, it was just fun to play outside. I think that at the end of it, that was kind of my takeaway. There were some people that were into it, and it's kind of more of a laid-back crowd up there, kind of loungy. And there's like a bunch of drinks and some fire pits and stuff like that. So didn't really feel like I was super captivating, but at the end of it, I did have a couple people come up and be like, yeah, I didn't ever look up to see who was playing, but you sounded awesome all night, which a little different, a little weird, but I'll take it. And I wouldn't say it was like the pinnacle of my playing, but it was decent. It was better than the Poor Bros the night before, or I guess the week before. So the next night was Bellevue, Lock 12 Music. The place is, it's kind of the same as Poor Bros and Kilkenny's, honestly. It's like the way they have their sound set up is weird, and makes it kind of hard to get a good sound. I mean, they have two mains kind of way up high, but like across the bar, and then they have a nice stage, takes up a good amount of the room, and it's high up, but it's not a super big bar either. So it's like if there's a lot of people there, they're right on top of you. That makes it noisy, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Pretty noisy when people are there kind of partying, having a good time, but they're like right on the front of the stage. You can hear them because the mains are like over there and really high up. And I did bring a monitor, but it just like didn't totally help. And I'm using their mixer, which of course I'm not super familiar. So it's just kind of like another night of not my best work, not the highest point of what I can do. And I felt very, again, still unexpressed and a little bit like I was placating the crowd a little bit too much. Should I throw my originals in? I should mention, Ryan Wolf did come and play at this show with me. And we're kind of getting ready to do a little set at the night shop where I play some songs with him. I'm trying something a little different I'm doing foot drums and the bass. I don't really play a lot of bass. And definitely not worrying about the singing. And it's just a different mentality completely. I think I could do, if I did one of them, I think I could do them really well, but doing both it's been a little tougher. Just learning songs kind of from scratch and doing that on top of all the stuff I have to keep up on. It's fun, it's just different, but we played a few songs that night together. They went okay. Not my best work, but oh well. It was just fun to have him in there with me, somebody to hang out with, and in between times he did a few solo sets, which was cool. He got some good video from that, and he ended up and didn't really feel like playing as much after I think he did a couple of my breaks, and then he was just like, I'm good for the rest of the night. It's just a weird crowd, ultimately. The owners and the people who book that show are like the nicest people, super accommodating, super just complimentary. It just makes me want to do a good job for them, It makes me want to like sell their beer and keep people there and not just hammer originals that nobody knows down people's face. But it's a fine line. I don't know where it is. I probably did 10, 15 originals throughout the night that night, but I don't know if that's enough. It was a 4-hour set, and I had Wolf, like I said, so it wasn't quite. It's always a fun drive. It was nice out, and it's right on the Mississippi. You go kind of Davenport area, and then you go up the Mississippi for like an hour, and lots of hills. And I wouldn't really expect to be that kind of cool looking, but in Iowa, because it's not a place that you really hear about that kind of thing for, but it's just different. I get so burnt out of driving on the interstate, so when it's something like that, like a 2-lane highway that right on the river and rolling hills and just an unfamiliar landscape in general, it's just even though it's a long drive, it's 3 hours. That last hour was fun as driving can be, which I don't know that there's a high point for that's crazy. It could only go so far. I don't know. I had this thought that night. I think it was just like, I'm such a big fan of the people that own the bar and the booker, and they were all there and being super nice and over the top generous. Probably some of the best music people, on that end of things that I know. And so, I wanted to be accommodating, and I wanted to keep people there, like I said, drinking and having a good time. So I ended up and I played a lot of covers, and it was like, at a certain point, I was just thinking, like, just lean in. Like, what is the point of... I was feeling that thing in the back of my head where I'm like, should I be playing more originals? Like, I can play all these covers all night. People were having fun. I could get annoyed or something about it, but I was just like, let's keep the people happy. Let's lean into their joy. And it was pretty fun. I mean, I didn't sound amazing. It was noisy and playing a lot of covers, but... I think I had a really fun time just because it's like, let's just go for it. Let's do what these people want, and let's have a good time doing it. And it made the night fun. It's easy to get in your head when you're like that. But long drive, and I got back around 5 a.m. the next day, and definitely felt pretty run down. And then I think like Monday or Tuesday, I didn't have my voice was completely gone. I was blaming it on the show. I think Monday or Tuesday I realized, like, I definitely have some sort of head cold, and always a scary thing when your main thing is, one of your main things is singing, and you have shows coming up, no voice to back it up. So that made for an interesting weekend, this last weekend. And so the first one was Kilkenny's. So that would have been 2 nights ago, and it was, I don't know, just a rough night. I was like, I had that lean-in mentality. I was like, I'm just going to try to... But, like, nothing I did really seemed to move the bar in any sort of way, no matter how good I played it. I feel like it sounded okay for my voice being just barely recovered from being sick. Wasn't completely gone, but I'd abstained from, singing anything too crazy or too high or too belty. Kind of have a whole different set list when that's the case, and then I get a little overconfident because I feel like, all these songs are sounding pretty decent. I bet I could get away with, this song that's maybe a little harder on my voice, and then I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Especially when I had 2 shows the next day. One, semi early in the morning. I had to get up early. The show wasn't till noon, but. So that was 2 Iowa shows in a row, and then I had St. Louis from 12 to 2 at Evangeline's Bistro. That was a long drive. I think I had to get up at 7:30, so I probably got home from Kilkenny's at 4 or something, and then went to bed at 4:35, something like that, and then got up at 7:30. So not a lot of sleep, but I was pretty prepared. I tried to sleep like a lot the night before, like extra. So I think that kind of helped a little bit. I'm not feeling as run down. But got there. It was kind of a loungy show, just like Evangeline's Bistro. It's kind of like a New Orleans themed bar, but they have food, and they do brunch, and they usually have live music. I decided, since I had to hightail it out of there to the next show, that I would kind of take it pretty easy on the setup ultimately, and just do the bare minimum, not the bare minimum, but pretty close. I just did my pedal board, and no foot drums, no extra pedal board. The second pedal board, just kind of took it pretty easy, used all their own sound. Usually when I've done that in the past, I've brought my own, which I think ultimately that was the most economical way to do it. It was simple, quick, efficient. It was nothing, and for the mood of that type of show, 12 to 2 in the afternoon brunch show, I think laid back is definitely the way to go. And my voice was pretty decent. I mean, for where it was at on that Tuesday and Wednesday of the week previous, the fact that, it wasn't impeccable. I definitely not perfect, but it did the job. At any morning show, I think I kind of pad the set quite a bit with pretty easy tunes, and I think that was definitely the case. I definitely played a lot more original songs than I had in the past, but still placating a little bit, throwing those little things out once in a while, but trying to really, I think maybe because the week before was, or no, the night before even at Kilkenny's was very, very playing to the crowd instead of trying to push my stuff. And I think too, part of that, being sick is like, I want to play things that people like, because I know they're not gonna, these songs aren't gonna sound amazing necessarily, because my voice just isn't really there. It was a fun little show, and it was nice to be able to get in and get out. I was gonna say with the Kilkenny's one the night before, I forgot to mention that I definitely had some weird timing issue that usually I play 9 to midnight. And it wasn't super busy at the beginning, but usually it gradually gets busier. So it started kind of like, by the time I started to kind of get people were coming in, like it was on that steady path that they normally have. And then usually by like 11, it's super busy. And it was still really nice out, so this may have had something to do with the way it ended up. But it was like I took a break, I think around 10:30 or 10:30, 11, somewhere in there. I just did one quick break, and when I got back, it seemed like it was pretty empty, and I'd been saving a bunch of my crowd pleasers, because, well, I'm gonna be at Kilkenny's I think 3 or 4 times in the next few weeks. Like it's the way we booked it, 2 weekends in a row was kind of nuts, because I'm there next weekend, and I was there not that long ago, and then I think 2 weeks after that I'm there again. So lots of Kilkenny. So it's like, all right, I'm going to try some, since my voice wasn't where it needed to be, I probably shouldn't have been messing around as much, I guess, or trying some songs that I don't normally play. But so I had all these like crowd pleasers saved up, and I was like, I'm going to really hit them when they get here at like 11, because usually that's kind of the case. And it kind of cleared out after my break, and then it's like, well, it's going to turn around at some point, and then it did, but it was really like 11:45 or something that it turned around. And I was, pretty well done at that point, which there were some people kind of paying attention there that like right when they got there, I actually got like my first round of applause from all night, I think, towards the last few songs, which was nice. And the person that books me over there is super, super nice lady. She's very nice to put up with me, and very nice to put up with the crowd there. But I'm just happy to be when I play at these bars that maybe aren't the most ideal sound wise, or maybe aren't the most ideal crowd wise. Sometimes even when the staff's so nice, it's like I really want to please those people and get them excited that I'm there, and sometimes that makes it worth it. I feel like with Kilkenny's and Bellevue, I mean, those are very supportive people that are running those places, so I want to support them right back, pretty much, I think, is what it boils down to. Sometimes those can be a little rough. So here's the hoping that my one next week at Kilkenny's is a little less rough. We'll see what happens. So sorry to rewind there for a second, but now going back to the bistro show, I got a free meal, which that was good. On my way out, they have kind of a New Orleans brunch. It was like a shrimp omelet that was delicious, and sold a record, which was cool, because like I said, I played lots of originals. And then I had to get out of there quick, hightail it to Gilman, Illinois, which I think it was about 3.5 hour drive. So I got up, drove 2.5 hours, played the show, drove 3.5 hours, and then another hour and a half back to Bloomington. And it was kind of storming that whole ride too. So, but the Gilman show, it was fun. It was kind of a off the beaten path. I mean, Gilman is off the beaten path in this little wine bar there, and it was kind of cool. They had on the piano next to kind of like the performance area, they had it was Chicago Farmer, Dan Hubbard, and Ed Anderson's the vinyls all across, because they had all played there before. And at the end, the owner there, which super generous the whole time, really easy to work with, and very, very complimentary. She bought a vinyl and put it up next to him, so it felt good to kind of be on the same display as those other people that, you know, are all pretty big influences on me, I'd say. I mean, I've watched those people kind of grow and play the area for so long, and I would say that they've really influenced kind of how I do things. Just kind of seeing how they did things, trying to follow their same kind of trajectory to an extent. So it was kind of cool to be on that same display. But the show was used their sound again. So this is like, it's been back and forth with that. And the times I've done my shows, I haven't done great with sound. So hasn't been amazing on that front. But the Evangelines, I think St. Louis sounded pretty decent and pretty chill. And then the problem with this one is the Inside Out is they had booked it acoustic, which it definitely should have just been an acoustic show. But then they promoted it as one main band. So I was just like, it's whatever, I don't really mind which one they picked to do. So I told them they can just let me know. And they're like, well, we already promoted it this way, let's do it. And I think that made it a little bit tougher just for the fact that small room, quiet room, easy to be too loud using their sound. Some of the clientele that go there aren't maybe the youngest, so you know they don't want their ear, they don't want to be blown out of the water. So, which I understand. I don't think anybody ever wants to be blown out of the water, but I think some people are more kind of up for maybe a little louder type set, and obviously that kind of changes my set list in my head as far as, you know, songs that I would know that I could guess that they probably like. You know, I'm being a little prejudiced and thinking like I can judge all these people just from a glance at the general ages and mentality, and of course I'm paying attention to what they seem to enjoy on my list of on my set list thus far, so I can kind of gear it that way. But I played a lot of originals. Like, it was pretty close to 50-50, and it's only a 2-hour set, so I did two 2-hour sets of 4 hours, and there's a little bit of overlap there. Since I played both those shows, I played a fair amount of originals, and it was nice. I sold a few records, and people were generally into it and complimentary. And those two shows kind of, not that the other shows were bad, or, you know, I just didn't, like I was saying earlier, I didn't feel fully expressed. Didn't feel like I was given the opportunity to like let loose to the extent I normally want to. So these ones I still felt a little constricted with using their sound, and the first one just playing acoustic, and the second one doing my foot drums. But you know, it was like I was using my dampened wood block to use my tap shoe, and then I was using my foot tambourine with the couple muted bells, so there's only 2 bells or jingles going, so it was already, but it was just too much. So I could tell the table that was a little bit on the other side was just like one table away, so they were right up there, and I just felt like, well, they immediately told me to turn it down, because I asked. It wasn't like they were like, hey, turn it down. It was like, because I just could tell that it could be an issue possibly. So they were like, yeah, you can turn it down a little bit more. So it's like my foot tambourine, which is dampened, can't really. And then I was kind of taking it easy on the kick drum as well. So I don't know. It was that part of it was weird, but they were very good crowd, very attentive, which felt different than most of the shows I've been playing. I've been way more just kind of background, but I had at least one whole table and maybe a couple other tables that were paying attention pretty good, but the one table was very, very focused on what I was doing, and apparently one of them could be kind of a harsh judge, and he said some nice things at the end to me and to the owner, which was cool. Got to play some originals, and I played Gloria, which I feel like was one of my best, and it felt good. A little bit of roll the dice, because not one that is in my normal set list, but it was fun to kind of wipe the dust off, and it sounded pretty good, and I don't know. It was just a fun night, really. And then, you know, I was still a little sick and made it home, and still a little run down today, but those last 2 shows kind of built me up a little bit. I also had the middle of nowhere music thing So I did. If you don't know and haven't seen me promoting it, I've done in the studio or on-site recording live one-man band performance for Middle of Nowhere Music a while back, and they released a couple videos from it that looked really nice and sounded really nice, but a way different sound than usual. It was more of a raw sound, no effects. It had a lapel mic and on the guitar and on my shoulder, and then or on my chest, I guess, and then kick mic, and then the room just kind of picked up my tap shoe and foot tambourine. And so besides compression, I don't think there were any alternative effects. So I mean, it was pretty different than the other ones I'd been in raw, but sounded good. Like, I was pretty happy. I was kind of scared of it a little bit, but I was happy at the end about how it turned out. That came out, and they released Logan, which was a third song I did that they didn't do a video for. So it's cool to have a different version of that one out there, and it's on Spotify, so you can just listen to the audio only. I think they sound pretty good, and I mean, obviously I'm always picky, but I think they work. Tough for me to judge whether they do, but I like them. I think that they're above average for what I normally do live. So that's exciting. All original songs. Got a new song in the mix, that Wings, not one I really play out a whole lot, and definitely hasn't been recorded. Logan, I've played. That's my second time it's been released live. It's still no studio version of that one. And then I did a live version of Will Magic Find Me, and definitely a different vibe than the recording. And the recording's been out for about a month, so a little over a month, and I've been doing music video for it, which Ryan Wolf helped me, or he directed and helped me shoot, and I've been trying to push that out, trying to get more eyes and ears on everything, and I don't know, I think the video turned out interesting, and not super maybe professional. It definitely looks a little low budget, but I mean, it was so but it was fun. It's got some different shots that are kind of cool, and been pushing that stuff out. But yeah, I'm trying to get a live version of the Wings song, which was the new one that I said that I played on the Middle of Nowhere Music. So I'm in the studio Wednesday for that one, which I'm hoping I'll feel better and actually be able to do. Supposed to be in the studio to finish Digital Soul tonight, but I'm still not 100%, so I want to give it a couple more days before I feel like I don't want to get Jeff sick. But with Wings, it'll be in the studio. I got 5 hours. It'll be at Eclipse. Pretty excited. I have a pretty good rough demo of it that we might use some of the tracks from the iPad that I've already recorded to get some of the sounds, because I tried pretty hard. I was thinking maybe I would just do the whole thing on the iPad, but it's more of an elaborate production, so we'll probably pick and choose some things and re-record some things and be kind of a hybrid, but definitely more of a full studio kind of sound for that one. And then Digital Soul, we just rescheduled to next Sunday, so just gotta dot a few I's and cross a few T's, and that one will be, it's kind of a colossal mix. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on, which I'm excited about. That's gonna be the first real in studio recording, because the Will Magic Find Me was so I'm doing a double EP for the next release, and some of it's going to be called The Lock and the Reel is kind of more just acoustic, laid back iPad. I'll take them to the studio to mix and master, but not like retrack stuff, and then the big studio sounds for the Lock. And I feel like the Digital Soul is definitely a way different feel than Will Magic Find Me, but that's kind of what I want. I want the contrast, because there is kind of two sides of my brain, I think, artistically, and as far as taste, I think I like some really broken down, kind of more singer-songwritery maybe laid back type stuff, and then I do like big mixes, big sounds, big song, like lots of tracks and kind of rock songs. So, which I don't know if you'd call digital soul a rock song. Now that one I've released on my Pandemic Relief as a live recording, and I also released it on the State and Water thing for the TV performance that's on the live album with all that. So it is going to be cool to get the actual, like, more expressed version of it. But so hopefully in the next 2 days, and then, or the next week rather, I'll have, but I mean, this next week is caked with all sorts of stuff. So the way it's supposed to go: El Paso, local tap on Thursday, Friday I'm at Kilkenny's again, and then so that's Kilkenny's Friday, and then Saturday morning I'm in Pontiac for the Run for Respect, which is a show I've been doing every year for I don't even know how long. And then I have the Top Hat in Girard, which I think I saw a sign for that on the way to St. Louis, so not the most ideal direction for the mapping and the driving. It's like, I don't know who hired the booking manager that I have. Just kidding, it's me. I'm the booking manager, and I'm not super good about planning. You know, I try when I can, but usually it's just gotta take what I can get right in that second. So it's hard to really map. So, you know, having the 3 different shows in 3 different states, you know, isn't probably the most ideal driving and movement wise, but they don't come all at the same time. It's not like I'm booking a tour. I'm booking a show and then hoping to fill the dates around it if I can get something close. I always try to lean that way, but it just doesn't work out that way all the time. So, but anyway, so that Run for Respect and the Top Hat in Girard, and that's a place I've never even played before, so that'll be a new experience, new place. Looking forward to that. Been, like I said, the last few shows kind of made me feel a little bit better about myself, so that's great. And then Sunday, Digital Soul, hopefully finishing it and then putting it out in for about a month after, for when I get the final master. I'll upload it and get it to the distributor and give it about a month so I can try to get it on some playlists and stuff like that. But anyhow, that's pretty much it. It's just been a wild few weeks, and the next few weeks are kind of wild too. We're kind of getting to that summertime where I can load everything up, which is both amazing and terrifying at the same time, because there's so many X factors, so many things can go wrong. I'm all over the place. You know, I'm in Indiana, I'm in Iowa quite a bit, I'm in St. Louis, Michigan at least once. So it's, you know, a lot of driving, a lot of things can go awry, but kind of the thrill of it, I suppose. Part of it is like when I pull it off, which I might not every time, but if I do, you know, most of the time, it does feel good to kind of make it all happen. But anyway, I appreciate anybody who takes the time to listen, and I will talk to y'all next time. All right, have a good one. Thanks.